Oh my God, I am so sorry. Good grief. I Yes, this morning I was awoken early by one of my children who said, "Mom, I'm out of milk and I need to go to the shop." So I did, and then I got stuck there. And so my apologies for being late. Oh my God. But anyway, I'm here now, if you still are. Hey Tanya. Hey Tanya. Hey Ali. I don't know if Ali's still here. You probably all gave up on me. I'm so sorry. But I'm a mum first, and so it ran into issues with everything. Um, I wasn't still in bed, Heather. Oh, golly, 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 gosh. Uh, so here I am. I just, yeah, I'm really, really sorry, but I'm here now, so it's all good. Um, Now let me have a little look, and let's see. Oh, that's all right, Heather. I'm supposed to be doing chores as well, so there you go. Not really doing them. Um, oh, yeah. Thanks, fairy princess. I don't feel it. uh, I don't know how many of you got to watch my Sally episode. I hope you did. Um, I had a lot of fun putting it together, even though I made it, then deleted it, then made it. I wasn't happy. Every time I made it, I wasn't happy. But in the end, I think it was okay. So I don't know what you all thought of it. I'm in the process now of making my uh, God, I've gone blank. Octagon Hall, my Octagon Hall episode. So I'm right in the middle of that. I have to double check with Cassie and Jason, but I think they were going to put one out this week. Jason might be putting his out this week, if not early next. I'm not sure, but either way, I mean this week coming. But either way, I'll have my one ready to go by probably Tuesday, maybe sooner, but we'll see how we go because, yeah, there's a lot to that as well. I'm a bit fussy. What else? Um, Sally episode, the third one, in regard to Aggie or um, Aggie Finney. So my plan is to do little ones like that about each character, basically, or each family member. I shouldn't say character because, well, even though they were. Um, but yeah, and then while doing them, filling you in on who actually passed away in the Sallie House, what's been able to be confirmed and what's a load of crap. But I've got to be careful when I say what's a load of crap because that's my opinion. And I was never there in the house when certain people say that they had certain experiences, so I can't speak for them. I can only speak for the history of the home and the fact that so far, all of the stories about Sally, I honestly really don't know where they come from. But anyway, hey Cheryl, hey. Uh, Let me have a look. I can't believe I was late for my own live stream, but I couldn't help it. And then they're doing roadworks as well. So on the way back, on a Sunday, on the way back, it was slowed down to 40. That's not miles per hour, that's kilometres per hour. So there you go. Oh, okay. I can't remember if it doesn't matter. If anyone wants to talk to me, shout out here and I'll send you the link. I'm just so, I'm pretty sure I asked Crow to come, but sometimes Crow is busy. He's a busy man. But I'll just double check if I did. Because I wanted to talk to Crow too. I don't know if you guys have seen on the news lately the thing about the alien spaceship. Oops. I think that's right. Come on in, Crow. He's away. Yeah, the alien spaceship that was above a marine base in California. And that was really interesting because the what I saw of it, they were saying that they had spoken to a few of the Marines that were there. They got footage, and I've seen the footage. That's interesting. Hard to say, really, but who knows? All of these spaceships and stuff are probably only Americans. Probably something boring. No aliens to be seen. Oh, hey, Regan. Oh, hey, Ali. Sorry I was late. I already told everybody I was at the shops. Bloody shops. Hey, Bluegrass. Have I missed anybody? I'm not sure. Oh, Cassie's at work anyway, but just in case, if she gets home early, she's more than welcome to come and say hello. It won't be a really long stream because I've got things to do. Busy. I've done things around home, like I got some shelves installed in my garage. I could have put them in, but I couldn't be bothered, so I paid someone else to put them together. So that's really good. Now my garage is looking more nice and tidy because I hate mess. My bedroom looks like a bomb hit it. So I've got lots of work to do today. Oh, dear. Oh, you're still at work. I always get lost with time. I know Wendy works nights, and I'm trying to work out a time where I can kind of catch you all. That's why I thought Sunday mornings maybe not so bad. People are mainly sort of home on a Sunday morning, so far as Australia's concerned, and possibly Tanya. Merch link. I have got merch, but it's only t-shirts. You know, I'm not sure where it is. You're asking me. It's not in, maybe I removed it. Let me have a look, Tanya. I would have thought if I had it, it'd be in my, what do you call it? About section. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, Redbubble. It's in the about section. Where am I? There I am. Yeah, I know. I can't please everyone, but the good thing is that maybe if I chop and change a little bit, at least I know that this hour usually I can catch on a Sunday. I can catch most people in America when it's not too late, and I can catch Aussies and Kiwis when they're waking up in the morning. But yeah, what do you reckon, Tanya? Probably I should think about doing something of an evening for the Australian people. I won't do it on a Friday, Heather, if you're listening, because I'm not going to encroach on your territory. Heather has a live on a Friday night here in Australia, and it's with her. Usually Drew too is there, but it's fun. So yeah. Hey Joe. Yeah. So there's not too much going on at the moment in regard to me doing anything or going anywhere, because I think I've done enough for a little while, and I've got so much stuff. I went through all of my Octagon Hall footage yesterday, and luckily I did catch a couple of things, so I'll let Jason and Cassie look at that. But I'm pretty sure, because of the clip I watched, I'm pretty sure they saw what I saw as well. So that was good. So that's why I'm putting my Octagon together now. So remember, my Octagon Hall episode will be more on the history of the home, the people that built it, the people that now look after it, Billy, the man who purchased the building so that he could make a museum, stuff like that. And but I will put a little few clips in here and there of different things that I filmed while I was at Octagon Hall. But yeah, so I hope I get that out. All right, Cheryl. I'll do maybe one night through the week, because to be quite honest, Cheryl, and Tanya, I get at night time, I'm so bored at home because I don't have a social life here. My social life is in America. But yeah, I just I could. Why not? you know, I'll have to put my silly dog on my knee note, though. He'll bark and cry because I'm not in my room. Thanks, Regan. It's a history. I think, for me personally, the history part of a location is what's important to me, because you know, you guys, the regulars, have heard all the reasons I do what I do, but that's why I think researching the history of a place is so important. If you're told that it's haunted, it's really important to go in there and basically make sure that you know the history of the place before you investigate. Because like we've seen so often, and Joe will know what I'm talking about here, I'm getting sick to death of all of these demons everywhere. I'm friggin' sick of demons. Demons, if they exist, would have far more important things to do than throw a cup at somebody or knock a cup off of a bloody bench or whatever. I'm just over it. So I'm over demons. But that's why I do what I do, because if you go into a place and you know a family lived there, if you know even a place where, for example, I would like to get there one day, the Vasilla axe murderer's house, whatever. I would even approach that very differently. I don't know. I've seen people go in and they say, "Oh, you know, it could be the fellow that did the murders," and it could well be. Who knows? Who knows? But I would hope that none of the souls of the people murdered there are still there. But I still don't really know terribly much about all those people that were killed. So that's something I'm going to do after I finish the Sallie House. I want to deep dive into that house and find out a lot about, you know, the husband and wife, and what they did and the children, especially the poor little, I think it was a little girl that was visiting on the night. How's that for bad luck? Having a sleepover on that night. But yeah, so that's, I just think, because people go in and listen to the stories of a place and shout out for those particular stories, you know, "Oh, you hear Sally," that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, there's no one there. Like, talk to the people that should be there. Anyway, that's the end of my rant. Yeah, Joe, I'm aware of that. Yeah. So that should be a good topic, because I'm over it. I personally, I know Joe's feeling on demons and so on and so forth. And well, if you're going to say you believe in angels, you've got to believe in the opposite. But my understanding of a demon is that they're very, probably, if do exist, they're very busy. I mean, you know, I'm sure they've got little minions that can go and scare people for them. I just, yeah, it's just all these other shows that I absolutely don't watch now. The only time I see any of those wankers, for want of a better term, is when I do go to the homepage and something pops up and I'll see some of them. Demon attacked us. I'm sure there's a demon at the Mackie Mansion. I'm sure there's a demon at the Washoe Club. I'm sure there's demons everywhere. I'm not. That's me being sarcastic. Yeah, I know, Joe. But so would real evidence. And I reckon sometimes people might get real evidence, but because it's subtle or whatever, I don't know. Hey, Sheldust, what do you have to talk to us all about later? Or do you mean you've got to go? Yeah, that's what I think too, Regan. I don't know. Because I don't... Someone asked me the other day, and I'm not going to get into a religious argument because no one really knows, right? But someone asked me the other day, "Oh, do you believe in angels?" I think it might have been you, Regan. And I answered carefully because, like I say, I don't want to upset anyone, but my opinion is that the ones that they refer to in the Bible, I don't believe in those because, well, it was a story written by men. Sorry. But energy, I do believe in. And I certainly believe if you want to, for want of a better term, you would refer to someone who's looking over you, that energy that's passed, that loved one, whatever, that you feel is looking after you and watching over you, that they would be what I would call an angel. Like, that's what I think. And as for a demon, again, that was in the Bible, wasn't it? So I don't know. I'm just very skeptical about all that sort of thing. I've never seen one. I've met a few people that could pass for them, but yeah, I don't know. I just uh, yeah, that's right, Rican. Nobody really knows. We don't know, and I don't, and I'm not trying to offend people because I do know that people do believe, and that's fine because that's okay. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That's okay. And one day I might be proven wrong. Who knows? But yeah, demons to me, I don't know. Maybe one day if I see one, then I'll tell you all and I'll go, oh, guess what? But like I said before, if I did see one, I'd go, dude, stop it. Like, do you need a drink? Like, sit down and talk to me. I don't know. And then I've heard stories about people being possessed that seem really, really real. But then I don't know about that either. Is it just they're really big nut jobs? I don't know. And when people have got adrenaline running through their veins and like you become a lot stronger too when you've got that adrenaline happening. Point in fact, if something happens, you might find the strength to do something and you think, how the hell did I do that? Adrenaline. Anyway. Yeah, I think that is the same thing, Heather. I reckon you are a little devil. Yeah. See, I didn't get called a little devil. My auntie Lillian, used to tell me that I would be Miss World one day, and she used to tell me my shoulder blades, scapulas, were my hidden angel wings. God bless her, she's gone long ago. The things that we get told. Cheryl, if you're referring to the podcast with Joe, it's on Facebook. So I don't know, unless you are in the group, you'd have to, Joe will have to be more, give you the info on that. Yeah, I've heard that, Joe, and I kind of, possession, not from a devil, I don't know, because quite frankly, I won't give you my opinion on the devil. But possession, I kind of think is possible because at the end of the day, if there are good energies out there and bad energies, and energy has the ability to drain our energy, to manifest, do whatever. Again, still not all proven, but that's the theory. Then one would assume that if there were bad spirits, people that had done bad things, murderers, etc., that it's very possible that they can sometimes, if you allow it, get inside you and take control. Again, not proven, but you know, if you hear any giggling and whatnot in the background, it's because my household is up and running around and making noise. Yeah, I don't know about that, Joe. I mean, I don't. I tend to concentrate on the positive. I'll let all the negative theories out there go to people who want to look into that. But and maybe in my travels, I'll come across something one day and think, wow. I mean, I have often thought to myself, like there was recently a murder where, I don't know, recently, I think in the last couple of years, where a young 14-year-old boy, completely normal otherwise for most of his life, all of a sudden out of nowhere, just started spouting really horrible stuff and then killed his mum with a hammer. Ooh. So, where does that come from? And even after they got him, he's still cuckoo. So you think to yourself, is it possible? I don't know. But that's a deep conversation. But anyway, the Sallie House. Does anyone have any Hi, Steph. Does anyone want to ask me anything about that at all? Because you are more than welcome if you want to. As I say, I've got my next one coming out this week. Not sure what day, because I've been not slack. I've been working really hard. This is a full-time job. I've been working really hard putting together my octagon ball, and then the one on the Sallie House #3. It's just about ready, but finishing touches. So they'll all get there. They'll all be out this week at some point. Yep. Just Tanya's posted that link for Joe's podcast with Bear. Bear, for those of you who don't know, Bear is he manages the museum. He's Billy, the fellow who started it. His grandson is actually the president of the museum. It's sort of been handed down by way, and Bear was Billy's mate, and so Bear manages it. But they're going to have a little talk about the recent spate of people going into locations, and there's Demon. I happen to know when I was in Virginia City, I missed them by a week, but Twin Paranormal had been in Virginia City the week before me. I know they've been to Mackie Mansion, Silver Queen, Washoe. So look out, because over the next few weeks or months, whenever they do their content, you're bound to find out that Mackie Mansion actually has a demon in it, or an evil spirit. And you're bound to find out Washoe Club does too. And probably Silver Queen. So that's just my opinion, okay? Oh dear. Let's have a look. Yeah, me too, Regan. I just think, look, I don't know. I'm about to offend a trillion people, and I told you I'd keep away from religion, but I'll just tell you what my personal opinion is about the Bible. It is written by men. It was written by men. God didn't write the Bible. It was written by men. It was written in a time where the masses had to be controlled and do as they are told. So a lot of the stories in that dictate that if you don't do as you're told, God will come down heavily upon you, and blah, blah, blah. And angels and demons, and, so my personal opinion is, apart from historically, that book has a few historical facts in it, which it's an interesting read. And yes, I've read it. The first one, not the revised one. So the one where you get thrown rocks at your head all the time if you're naughty, and stoned to death, and kill your kids to make God happy, that sort of thing, Yeah, I just think that possibly there's underlying truth to the energies and things when you look at other cultures and their beliefs that don't necessarily believe in the Bible, but you'll see right across the board, you'll see a lot of things, especially in I've gone blank. American Indians. Help. But you know what I mean? Like the Navajo and all that sort of thing. They've got, when you listen to their stories, it's fascinating. It's totally fascinating. So we've got a lot of similar things. But anyway, so yeah. Yes, Regan, and that is the other thing. That's why I read the original, the First Testament, because anyone who follows history knows that King David took that original text, gave it to whomever in his court, and said, I really want to get control of these people. Change that story a little bit, please, because I just want them. I don't want them to believe the stuff that they have been. Just change it. And so it's been rehashed and rehashed and rehashed. And by all accounts, some parts of it have been taken out. So look, that's huge, and that's not. I don't want to talk about that either, but I know all about it. So, it is what it is. Yes, it is, Tanya. It is incredibly crazy. But not only that, I've saw there was one show that come out just recently, and I did tell everybody else because I've been to Virginia City, because I'm close friends with people there, because I know the history of the Mackey Mansion, for example. After speaking with the owner of the Mackey Mansion, not the lady who shows you through when you do the tour, I did see someone put up an episode of the Mackey Mansion, and I started to see, evil, was it this, was it? I thought, oh, excuse the French, but F off. Like, I just thought I couldn't watch it. I watched the first couple of minutes because I thought it might actually be good. I thought, you never know. She might have a different take on it, and I couldn't watch it. So maybe it did end up being good, but I couldn't watch it. I just get really, really cranky. Rican says, I totally get why people reach out to the negative. It stands out. Psychologically, we remember the pain over the joy. How many of us have been having glorious day, then one negative interaction? For sure, Rican. And it does. It just takes, sometimes you can have a brilliant day and it just takes one individual, come into contact with one individual who just wreaks that really bad energy, and your day can be stuffed. But the trick is to try not to let that individual, no matter who they are, ruin your day. And it's easier said than done. Hey, Bluegrass, I didn't spot you. You must be up the top somewhere. Someone did, though. 100%, Joe. And that's why it's a huge, Joe just said psychology plays a huge factor in the paranormal and religion. Yes, it does. And that's why I'm careful what I say, because, hey, cruising, hey, that's why I'm careful what I say, because so many people are, for me, when I was born and grew up, my family didn't go to church on Sundays or anything like that, but my dad's mum did. So my grandma did. So she would be the one who would say, say your little prayers at night time and all that sort of thing. And she gave me a Bible and so on. Whereas my actual family, no, they weren't non-believers, but they weren't believers. And so I was, as I have done with my children, I basically said, look, you do the research on all these religions and you make up your own mind whether or not you believe or you don't believe. And I took my children to church because I thought, well, that'll give them an insight as to what that is. But unfortunately for me personally, church has always been an absolute nightmare. Normally, for me, my experience with churches, the Catholic, and especially the Catholic, and other ones, very gossipy. Like if you don't fit in, you get talked about behind your back. Catholic Church wouldn't have a bar of me because I was a child from a broken home. And then later, as I grew a bit older, divorced parents, and later as I grew a bit older and went back, tried to go back into school and do different things, they didn't want me. They said, no, you've been living on your own since you were 15 and you've been living in a flat with a man. And I shared a flat with a friend. That was it. It wasn't anything like that. I was a good girl. And they didn't want to help me. And I thought, you know what? Churches can get stuffed because they're not very nice if you don't conform. Sorry if anyone, I mean, because there's good people out there in churches, absolutely, but my experiences were pretty bad. So I just more researched everything I could, and I tend to go more, personally for me, more in I look at the history of the Christians, for example, and find that a lot of that was taken from the pagan beliefs, especially our holidays. And then I look at the Buddhist, and how they think. So there's a lot of lovely kind of thinking religions out there that I look at more so than the ones that basically tell you to do as you're told or you're out. Yeah, yeah. And the one thing that they tell you is it's not their job to judge. That'll happen the day you get to the pearly gates. So, yeah, hypocrites, most of them. No offense to anyone in here, because I'm sure everyone in here is lovely. So I'm going to stop talking about it now because I don't want to make enemies, because I love everybody that comes into this chat. And I just think everybody, whatever gets you through the day, whatever makes you happy, whatever gets you through life is fine by me, so long as nobody's hurting anybody else. Where did that go? Yeah, Steph, that's what I did with my kids. Me too. Like even my grandma, who did go to church every Sunday, didn't push anything down my throat. It was all, you make up your own mind, and that's what I've done with my children. I don't ask them anything, but we have big talks sometimes. So yeah, I had really bad experience. They were really nasty, and that was the nuns and the priests. So if you're going to be told you're not good enough to associate, because I would think at the time I got told that I was 17 going on 18 and I wanted to go back to school, and I was living on my own at that point, and I wanted to go back to school, and if I went back to school, my father was going to let me stay with him. Well, I did that, but Catholic school wouldn't let me. So I ended up just going back to public school. That's all good, and I finished and did it all there. But yeah, so unfortunately, you can't be an independent young woman and live in a flat at that age and by yourself, or back then anyway. Granted, that was what, 1980, I think, something like that. I did invite my lovely little crow in because I wanted to talk to him about the alien thing, but I reckon he's still asleep. Let me see if he's seen my message. No. He'd still be asleep, I reckon. Cassie is at work. I know Cassie was going to pop in and say hello, but I did explain to Cassie that I probably wouldn't be on for a huge amount of time. It's a Sunday and I've got gardening to do. I've got a bedroom to clean, food to cook. I'm going to bake a cake today. Oh, and I'm going to try to make scones and gravy. Biscuits and gravy, because I've figured out, I've looked at the recipe and it's like Australian scones, except just a slight variation. And so I'm going to try it, biscuits and gravy for dinner. I don't know what with. Maybe just bacon and eggs. Sounds like breakfast for dinner, but that'll do. I'm just interested too, anyone who did watch the Sallie episode I put out, I hope you saw that I had researched the story of the little girl that died in the house from a botched operation by Charlie, the doctor. Yeah, no, not true. I've researched the newspapers of the day. So they said around, the story goes it was turn of the century. So I researched, took ages. I researched from when Charlie had become a doctor up until about after he was mayor. The only story that popped up was the one about the lady with the thumb, with the thing through her thumb. And again, as I say, Charlie didn't live in the Sallie House then. after he became a doctor, he never went back to live in the Sallie House. He built the house next door to the Sallie House. And, yeah, there were 3 hospitals very close by. Charlie did have medical rooms in town, but honestly, the hospital was just, even if they ran, it probably would have taken them 10, 15 minutes. But there's nothing to substantiate it. There was nothing in his history. There was nothing in the newspapers. There was nothing. And given they'll report on something with, yes, he has been slandered, and it makes me really angry. Yeah, there's just nothing. The history of Charlie Finney is one that was really very well-respected man. The only trouble he got into was as a youngster, like I say, and trouble like because he had a fight with somebody over them saying bad things about him. Yeah, no, he was a good man, and I'm sure in his lifetime, he lost patients. Every doctor does, every nurse does. But that particular story is based on nothing. So I don't know who made it up. I don't know where it came from, but there's no proof of it anywhere. Ooh. Here, Tanya, is the gravy in biscuits and gravy the same gravy we use on meat, etc.? It's more, no, it's a little bit more creamy, but yeah, I don't. It's sort of the gravies I had was like a whitish type gravy. So, but I reckon you could still use any gravy, to be honest. But it's a bit creamier. I'm not sure. I'll have to look up the recipe for that. I didn't think of that, Tanya. Let's see. Heather's actually. I know she's doing the housework, so she can only hear me probably if she's still listening to me. But Heather's going to America in August with her partner Werner and young Drew from Drew's Adventures. They're going to be hitting the Florida area, and they're going to Waverly Hills and a few other places. So I'll be interested to see how Heather goes when she's over there. Oh, Maisie. Sorry, sweetie. I just realised everyone's saying hello, Maisie. I just spotted you. Yeah, Maisie. I've got to try and get a good time zone for you too. Although Maisie tells me she doesn't mind being awake at all hours, so that's always good. It's interesting. I told my children to stop the dog from barking. He's barking. He's outside barking, and one of my children streams. I think she plays games and she streams on Twitch. And whenever she goes in to do a stream, it's, Mum, I'm streaming. Keep that dog quiet. And of course, I'll do something, the dog will bark and she'll go, oh my God, and I'll get a message, keep that dog quiet. I'm currently speaking to you, and I told them before I went in, look, if he carries on too much, can one of you look after him? He's not bothering me too much. You probably can't even hear him, I don't know. But he'd be bothering my neighbours. And my children are just going, Puppy, be quiet. I'm like, oh, I should send them a message. Steph, getting back to what you said about Charlie being slandered, yeah, if you watch a lot of these investigators, I guess in some ways you can't blame the investigator. That's the story they're being told. But I guess the point I'm making is if you're going somewhere to investigate and you get told a story about the place, do your own research first, dude, because stories are stories. Like, check it. Look, it was very hard for me to check a lot of the facts I did without actually paying to do so. So I've had to pay for different subscriptions to different resources and whatnot. Fair enough. But when you put up an episode, and some of these, like these are people with lots of backing, to their programs that haven't bothered to do research. Like it's annoying. So I hope I have, for the small amount of people that have seen my episode, I hope they do pay attention to the fact that on the whole, Charlie was a really good man, and he didn't kill anyone in his house. And like I say, he lived next door to the Sallie House anyway, so yeah, Maisie, you've been a little bit off, so to speak, so I hope you are feeling better. Is there actually Joe had an idea for me the other day, and he gave me a name of a few places to do some research on. Like I said, I've got a list that I want to research because the places that I'm researching, I want to eventually go to. So I do want to go to the Sallie House. I've not been. I definitely want to go to the Sallie House. And while I'm at the Sallie House, I want to see the different places that are around Atchison, because there's a lot in Kansas. Then I'm going to research the Axe House, because I'm almost 100% positive that the story itself is true, because that's completely documented. But yeah, that's another place where demons always appear. Because I would like to go there, I guess, but then I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I would like to. And obviously, the places that I have been, I've researched before we went there, and I was happy, like when I went to Waverley, it was really good for me to realise, and I'll put that in my Waverley Hills episode, but it was great for me to get the clarification out there that indeed what I thought was correct. So that's good. So I'll talk to you about that in those. But yeah, if you've got any places you think, even around Virginia City, because I do intend to go back to Virginia City. I'm putting one together about the Sutro Tunnel. And I'm not sure when, but I do know another team of investigators went to the Sutro Tunnel. I won't say their names, but I know that they're not welcome back. And I think I told some people about this, but yeah, I'm sure they've found a demon. But I'm going to put there's no demon at the Sutro Tunnel. But I'm going to put an episode together about the Sutro Tunnel and its history. And after I do that one, and again, it's coming, but things to look forward to. After I do that one, I'm going to get Taylor Hamby on with me live, because Taylor works there and she's a historian. So yeah, I hope you like what I put together about that, because again, I'll try to get that out before. Actually, I should. I'll try and get that out before October, when the PEX is on, because that's where they're holding PEX this year. Now, I won't be going to PEX, and neither will a lot of the other people in. Like Joe won't be going, Cassie, Jason. But it would be good if any of you all go to Sutro Tunnel to watch my episode, Know the Truth, so that when you go there and people are doing their little investigations, you might even be able to pop up and say, oh, that's actually not correct. Because I hate it when they go in and tell you stuff that's not spot on. But that'll be out. And that might be what I'll do. I'll try and get it out before then, in case any of you do get to go to the PEX in October 19, 20, 21, 22, unless that's changed. I haven't seen anything more on it. Yeah, I don't know the basics of the Scylla axe murderers, the basics off the top of my head without looking at anything. The family were at church, I believe, and I think at a church function, a little girl that was friends of their children, so the mum and dad, the children had a little friend that came over to have a sleepover at the house, and they got back, everyone went to bed, and basically the family was slaughtered that night, all of them in their beds. Mum and dad, well, they say mum and dad went first. I would assume that's probably a pretty good guess. And there were suspects at the time. One suspect was a travelling preacher The other suspect was like a homeless man. Another suspect was a business partner of the father that was murdered. No one was ever convicted. No one was ever tried for the crime. Not that they just, and the day, which happened a lot back then, but the when the police actually ended up coming through to investigate the area, etc., people walked in and out, in and out, in and out, and so they didn't understand that it was a crime scene, and so crime scenes weren't processed the way they are now back then. People just tramped in, tramped out. It's a bit gory, really, to think that people showed up, just regular neighbours or whatnot, and decided, oh, I'm going to have a look, and walked inside to see all these poor people dead. So, yeah, I want to do a little deep dive into that and see what I can find out. I think most people, because it was a crime that was investigated by the police, I think we could probably safely say that most of the history of that place is spot on. But it still doesn't stop people going in and saying there's an evil presence and whatnot. So I don't know. And there could be, but I don't know. Young Maisie, just woken up. Oh, you were in a meeting in Edinburgh. That sounds interesting. Wow. That's pretty cool, Maisie. Do tell more. What will you be doing? Maisie's got quite the history, little Maisie. One day I actually, you know what, Maisie? One day I'll have to probably talk to you on a live. Maisie's knows Akadaka or ACDC. Who else was it again, Maisie? There was someone else you knew that you'd worked with aside from ACDC, but there you go. Yeah, Rican, the angle, Rican says the angle that interests me is that it may have been a hit on the father. That is also something I wanted to look into because, yes, he did have a business partner. There was, and that's the part of the story that a lot of people don't tell, but the father and the business partner were arguing over money and so on and so forth. They're not saying that the business partner did it. They're saying that he possibly hired people to do it. And look, I can believe that because even to this day, there's hits ordered on people, and the people that do that sort of thing really don't give a rat's pajamas about little kids. So if they thought for a minute that those children could identify them or whatnot, they probably just went to, I mean, they're a bad person anyway. To be able to go in and do that to a human being, evil that walks. Well, that's what Cheryl, why would they kill them all? Yeah, just for the very fact that I've just said it does happen. Like there's been hits where, like throughout history, there's been hits on a family member for whatever reason, and then they do the whole family in. You're dealing with someone who's unhinged in the first place, who could actually murder someone in cold blood like that. There's people out there, unfortunately, that get off on doing this sort of thing. I mean, you just look at the serial killers like Bundy and all them. I mean, why did they do what they did? But the other thing is too, there was, that's the other thing, the other sideline to that Sallie House is that there was a serial killer prevalent in that area at that time who had been known to go in and kill people in a in that fashion with an axe. So, yes. Oh, cool, paranormal side. Did you ask for Charlie or Aggie? Well, Charlie wouldn't be ghosting there, but Charles Catherine's would be. That was Michael Finney's father-in-law, Catherine's mother. Catherine didn't die there either. So Charles died there. So it'd be interesting to see what you find and how you investigated it. I'd be interested to know because Michael built it he died in the house. I can give you no spoilers to those people, but yeah, it'd be pretty cool to know what you found, if you found anything at all. So Maisie, we're working to get legislation to help protect women and girls and get real change put into law that women have equal rights. I've worked with lots of artists. That is a good cause, because I have eyes open everywhere, Maisie, so I do know that Scotland in particular is a little bit behind the 8 ball with that. So good luck. And that's so awesome. See, we've got such good people in this chat. It'd be actually, since you just did get back from the Sallie House, that whole street. So where the Sallie House is, I'm not going to put this in an episode, so I can talk about it anyway. But where the Sallie House is, the red brick house, if you watched my episode, the red brick house on the right side of it was Charlie Finney's house, right? The doctor. The other house on the other side belonged to James Finney, which was Charlie, the doctor's big brother, right? Across the road, there is a big house, but next to it is another one. That was owned by Charlie. The whole friggin' street, around about, I think in total he had about 20 or more properties in Atchison, but most of that street was owned by Charlie, and a few of the houses in the back as well. There's a shop front that's further, so to the right of the Sallie House on that same side, further down, there's a shop front that was owned by Charlie. The house on the opposite corner was owned by the whole street. So he had a ton of houses. It'd be interesting actually, because Catherine Finney, Charlie's mum, she passed away in that red brick house next door to the Sallie House. Be interesting to talk to the people, if they're probably sick of people coming and going, but it'd be interesting to talk to those people to ask if they've ever had anything. But I would think that even if Catherine's spirit is around somewhere, it's probably in the Sallie House, even though she didn't die in there, only because she built that house with her husband, you know. That it was a happy house. Oh, thanks, Paranormal Side. All right, so Charles Finney, the doctor, he didn't die in that house, but his grandpa did. So Charles Catherine's. So if you got a Charlie, that may well have been who it was. He used to be a school teacher, piano teacher, and so I don't know. People should. I think, is there a piano in the Sallie House? From memory, I think there is. Maybe there's not. Anyone who plays piano should sit down and play the piano and then talk to Charles Catherine's. He might come out and give you some pointers. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that episode anyway. That'll be cool. You have to let everybody know when it's out. No demons, I'm assuming. If there were, I'd be very upset. See, that's the thing too. In some of these houses, you don't know what people have done, and like I say, I don't know. You don't know what people can manifest, and so on and so forth. So people may have gone into that home. It was a rental property, by the by. That was after Aggie died in the house, because she passed away in the house. It was used. It was a rental, but all the way through, actually, even when the Finneys lived there, they always had a border. And when I've gone through the census papers, I can see, although it's not clear, so some I've struggled to actually get a proper name, but they've always had a border. Someone always lived in that house apart from the Finneys later on. So they had borders, like Catherine had borders, because of course she lost a husband. So to make ends meet, so all the way, it was a rental property. And even after the death of Aggie in the house, after that, from what I can gather, no one did pass. There's no records of anyone else passing in the house. But right up until I've researched right up until when the Deborah Pinkington, or whatever her name was, Pickering, moved in and said Sallie was haunting the place. Right up until then, anyone that had been spoken to about the home, lived in it, etc., said it was fine, nothing ever bad. So I'd like to know what it was that happened when Deborah and her family moved in. What did they do? Like, what did they do? Because up until they moved in, there was nothing wrong with the house. So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I would say there could be something not happy there. Probably the spirits of all the people that lived and loved in the house, sick of people coming in asking for demons. They're probably like, oh, not again. But and that's to say, like I say, you don't know what Debbie and her family did. They say they did, yeah, Tony and Debbie. They say they did nothing, but their stories are pretty. My opinion is that their stories are pretty out there. So yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to that episode, though. And yeah, I want to try and get to go there, but I don't know. I'd have to find out whether or not you're allowed to, because I don't think it's very expensive to hire out the Sallie House. So I'd like to find out from the owners how much it'd cost me to stay there for a few days. I'd much rather do that. I can get pizza delivered. But I wouldn't stay there by myself because it wouldn't be any fun. I'd want someone to come with me. So we'll see. We'll see what I can do. Yes, Maisie, there's demons everywhere. Look, I've said it before. I'm not saying they're not real because I don't know. But I've never come across one except in human form. And and that's about it. Plenty of demons walking around, flesh and blood, I can tell you. Ooh. Yeah, I'm with you on that paranormal side. Like I say, I've looked into it. I've spent the last few months looking into it before I went away to America, and yeah, you know, and conspiracy theory, my opinion, whatever. This is my opinion, nobody else's. In my opinion, oh, that's all right. I could do that. Is that a whole day paranormal side, or is that like that's what they charge for the night? I'd negotiate with them anyway. Heather, you could come with me to the Sallie House. My opinion is that given the fact that I know the names of the families that lived in the house up until the last little old lady left and went into a nursing home, nothing had happened in that house. That house's history is one of happiness and joy. People died in their homes. Every house in Atchison probably has had a death in it, just about, from that time period, because that was just what happened. But interestingly enough, after that family moved in, I don't know, what was it? A dog picked up and thrown against a wall, toys moving, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? And now, if that had been the end of the story and nothing was ever made of it, you wouldn't have people writing books. You wouldn't have people talking on television programs getting paid lots of money. Sometimes there's just a reason that people do what they do. And if anyone knows the history of the Amityville Horror House, same thing. The family that purchased that home and moved in later on, yeah, about as much truth in that, I think, as there is in the Sallie House. So, yeah. Well, maybe that's something we can think about, Heather. Maybe you and I can go. We could work on that. Stay there for a full week, get a hire car, go to all the different places. But yeah, so I'm not. When money is to be made, people can tell all sorts of fibs, as it's proven in the paranormal field. Like it just is. People want the clicks. People want the I don't know what the frig they want. They've obviously never suffered loss in their life, true loss. So they just go into these places and think this is a game, and they want some fame. Pisses me off. But anyway, I'll stop talking. Oh, that's a bugger. Oh, you can catch a bus to get to the Amityville Horror House. See, that's the thing. People live in that house now, so I wouldn't want to actually go to the house because a family lives there. Now, given that the family lives there, a family lives there and everything, that indicates that possibly nothing happens in the house. But yeah. But the night's from 4 to 10 a.m. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, well, I would just talk to him and say, well, I want it for 3 days or 4. A whole week would be awesome. I'd just say I want it for 3 or 4 days, and I'll do the housekeeping and whatnot. Vacuum. Tell me where the vacuum cleaner is. I'll dust. I probably would. I'd probably even plant some flowers in the front yard because I don't think it looks very pretty at the moment. I reckon the Finnies would like a few little flowers in the front yard. Or maybe you couldn't plant flowers because then you'd have to water them. So maybe just something with pretty flowers on it. Yeah, I suppose if it wasn't too hard to get to and walk past, the trick would be borrow someone's dog, walk past with the dog, up and down a few times till you got one of the people that lived in there coming out, checking their letterbox and go, oh, good morning, and then start talking to them and see. But yeah. Yeah, it is a shame. I do absolutely believe in spirit, and I do because I have. There's been some weird things happen to me in my adventures with Cassie and Jason, and in my own personal life. So I believe in something. But that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm researching what I researched, because if I get to go to any of these places, I want to know what really actually happened there, and therefore what kind of questions I could ask. Actually, I'll tell you something funny. When I was reviewing the footage from the Octagon Hall, Jesus, I can talk. Freaking don't shut up. I'm surprised that Cassie and Jason just didn't hit me on the head. Oh, well, never mind. I'm sure the spirits enjoyed my banter. Oh, yeah, it might be too late to go to the Sallie House now, Heather, because I couldn't get back to America in a couple of... Oh, well, I could, but I want to save up my money. I'm thinking maybe next year I might plan a trip to the Sallie House. That would be really cool. Maybe Cassie could come then. Oh, they've changed the house number for the Amityville. They can change the house number, but people still know where it is. But that's my point. People live there. There's nothing. If there was anything going on in that house, it scared people to the extent that the original family who's told all these stories. I mean, at the end of the day, it was a shit of a son who decided just to his drug habits, etc. Probably dad didn't want to give him money to buy some more drugs. He cracked the shits and just decided, fuck you all, and went on a rampage, which is exactly what he did. And then later on tried to claim, asshole, killing his baby brothers. Hey, Joe. Oh, you know what I was going to do, Heather? I said it to Cassie while we were away. There's a few houses around in the Canadian area that look a bit like that. We drove past one. I went, oh, that looks like that. The window at the top, the shape of the roof and everything. And I laughed and I said, oh, we should take a picture of just that and then pop up on the thing. Where's our next investigation? And everyone would have got tricked and thought we were going to Amityville. The youngest child, didn't he get killed? They were all killed. But anyway, I don't even believe that. I just believe that it was because I've also, when I lived in Wangaratta, there was a murder that took place, It was the mum and dad church-going people. Everyone in town knew who they were. The family itself, I don't know the family, but they had a son. And their son came home and asked for all of his belongings, please, that were in the big garage. And the father said, no, I'm not giving you all your belongings in the garage. And no, I'm not giving you any more money, because the son had a pretty bad drug habit. Anyway, I guess the son didn't like being told that, so he went to town and murdered his mother and father brutally with the butt handle of an axe, and was pretty, disgusting. Now, people do this all the time. They're not haunted or possessed. They're just assholes. They're just sick individuals. But, that's why the story of Amityville, because I was a young girl when that family, the ones that bought the house, right, the ones that bought the house after the murders, they came, the husband and wife came to Australia. They were on one of our shows here. And I remember watching it all the way back then and listening to their story about blood oozing from here and flies and the priests being frightened and so on and so forth. And I remember thinking, I don't know, and you couldn't get tricked. You can believe what people tell you. Like, why would they lie? Well, that family made a lot of money from that story. And if you ask me, the Lutz family, and if you ask me, George and Kathy, thank you, Joe, they made a lot of money. They made a lot of money. They wrote books. It was made into a movie. They made money from the tragedy of a family murdered by their son. They took that story and ran with it, and then the rest. And I really get pissed off. I hate that. So that family that died in the house, as tragic as it was, the same with the axe murderer house, they were people that lived and breathed and had a life. And someone's moved into the house and gone, ooh, ghosts and demons and blood and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There's just something really disgusting about it. Yeah, well, they were just, no. My personal opinion anyway about that whole Amityville horror Lutz family, they're, yep. Liars, liars, pants on fires. Yeah, I'd believe that, Wendy. I mean, I understand people's morbid curiosity with the Amityville house, and it's fed by all this crap. No, of course the house was never haunted. I mean, it could, like, if you went in there with respect, and it's possible that the soul or whatever, but I'd hope that poor family, their souls or spirits or whatever have gone way, way away from where they were hurt. I mean, their son was a nut job. He was on drugs. He was spaced out of his brain, and he went ahead and killed his family. He was an a-hole. My personal opinion. Oh, dear. Hey, Joe, what time is it there? Joe's a multitasker. He'd be editing or doing something now while he's talking to us. And that's like, hey, Wendy, what you said about the carloads of people and stuff. When I was in Virginia City during PECs, 9 p.m. Oh, cool, not too late. When I was there and I stayed in the miners' cabin, which is supposed to be haunted by the dead miners. It could be, but luckily nothing happened to me while I was there because I didn't want it to. I was by myself. So I made sure when I walked in, I'd say, okay, boys, if you're around, don't talk to me. I'm not interested in talking to you. Don't talk to me. So nobody did. But I was uneasy there, going back to what you were saying about Amityville, because I couldn't lock the door properly. The lock was a bit dodgy, and I did mention something to the hotel people, but they didn't come and fix it while I was there. So I would pull the couch in front of the door just to be, But people would drive up there, like all hours. I would hear people walking around. It wasn't ghosts or demons walking around the miners' cabin. It was human people trying to look in the windows and stuff, and obviously taking photos, which you don't begrudge them, but my car was parked right outside. There was a little light on inside, manners. I was trying to sleep. So I don't know. That was off-putting because I didn't really like I thought, oh, well, who, you don't know who's out there. Could be murderers. So, yeah, so I can understand why those people would be really annoyed. It looks like a nice house, if you ask me. Oh, 2 a.m, Maisie, that's all right. Party hour, yeah. You can't complain about the time that it is there. Yes, Wendy, the door wouldn't lock, and it was a bit spooky. Only because I was frightened someone might try to come in and, because some people are stupid. Like some people probably think that it's not a place where you can actually sleep. Like it's a hotel room. It just happens to be the miner's cabin. The only time, I don't know if I've told you all this story before, the only time while I was there that I got a little uneasy, I came home, I can't remember when or whatever, what day or night it was, but I came home and there was a ginger cat. There's a ginger cat that lives at the Gold Hill Hotel, and his name, I think they call him Garfield. Anyway, Garfield, for want of a better name, was outside of the miner's cabin door, and he was just sitting there. He's a big ginger cat. He's so cute. Me with animals. Oh, hello, pussycat. So I've opened the door and I've gone in. I said, come on. I just left the door open and the pussycat followed me inside. And I gave him some beef jerky and I had some milk. So I fed him and he was happy. I thought, oh, he's happy. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to let him stay here with me tonight. He can sleep with me because I missed my dog. So I shut the door and the pussycat was still eating and I gave him a cuddle or whatever. And then I went to get my pajamas on and the pussycat was just sort of sitting there. And all of a sudden the pussycat looked at the window over near the door and you know how cats go, like their hair, when they're upset about something, their hair goes up, and it went like that at the window. Now, could have been someone looking through the window and maybe he's a watchdog cat. But I looked at the pussycat when he did that. I went, oh, don't do that. I'm about to go to sleep. So I opened the door up and he ran. He ran out. And now he could have just been going cook too because I shut the door. So I don't know. But that was the only time I felt uneasy because they say animals can see things. Yeah, that's what happened. I've just told you, Wendy, the cat. But that's it. I did let somebody... The night I was at the Mackey Mansion, I gave someone the keys to the miner's cabin and said, go do an investigation there. Like, why not? Because it's empty. They did an investigation. I watched their episode. Well, all I'll do is laugh, really. It was quite entertaining. But yeah, the whole time, it was just, yeah, full of crap. But anyway, at least someone, hang on a second, Cassie's messaging me. Oh, God. Cassie's just still at work. Otherwise, she'd pop in and say hello. But yeah, so like I say, basically, I don't know if that works, if something's haunted and you walk in and go, don't talk to me, I don't want to know about it. Just shh and mind your P's and Q's. Because when you think about it, I guess the miners' cabin people go in there probably on a daily basis and go, oh, are you here? Who's here? Whatever. Maybe the ghosties get sick of that. I would. I'd be thinking, oh, not again. But that's me. Yeah, that's the only thing, the pussycat. And as I say, it could have been coincidence because the pussycat, I shut the door, so maybe the pussycat didn't like that. But it was just the way his little, like his hair went up. Normally speaking, a cat will just go up to the door and go, "Meow, let me out." So, just a second. I'll just, Ron, if you're here, let me know. Cassie said that you went to the fair with the children, but I haven't seen Ron pop up. He's probably, still with the kids at the. All right, let's see. Geez, Cassie, shush. Cassie's messaging me back and forward, back and forward. I'm on a live. Shh. Oh dear. So, has anyone got anything else they want to? How long have I been talking to myself for? I better have a look. I'm good at that. Jesus, I've kept myself entertained for an hour and 15 minutes. How's that? Mind you, I'm talking back and forward to you guys. So, well, yeah, it was a little bit unsettling for me. When the cat did that, I thought, so I actually went and turned the kitchen light on to sleep with the kitchen light on because I thought, and after I put the cat out, I said, whoever that was who annoyed the cat, don't annoy me. So I didn't get annoyed there and I slept there fine and I didn't see any shadows. I didn't see anything. I didn't feel uneasy except for the cat. You know, Oh, it was okay. It was just Cassie letting me know she was still at work and asking if Ron was in the chat, and he's not. So, oh, hey, Daniel. So yeah, that's okay. But why are you glad I'm on tonight, Daniel? Why is it? Why is it so? But yeah, what is the time here? Oh, it's only 11 o'clock. I'll talk till lunchtime. How's that sound? And then I'm going to go and eat, even though I probably shouldn't. Oh, thank you, Wendy. That's a nice picture of you, Wendy. You're very pretty. Just saying. I'm not that way inclined. I'm just saying you're pretty. I'll make that clear. Just in case. Don't want to creep people out. I'm trying to think. When I was at Virginia City last time, again, I have talked about this, but I'm not sure to who or when or how. I went to the Washoe Club. I was going to go upstairs, but the lady that was doing the thing at the time goes, "Oh, you can't do that." And I said, "Oh, okay, fine." Like I was going to give him money, but can't do that. But the boy that was behind the bar by the end of the day, because I'm a member of the Washoe Club, at least until September, I went into the crypt and I like it in there. It's nice and quiet. It's very good. It's nice and quiet. And I had a good look around and I was looking at the structure, the stairs up top. I was looking at the wall. And so far as structurally sound, it is, but it's not, because that rock face or the stone face, that's up against earth. So from the top and everything, like there's tiny little bits of rock and whatnot that can fall and get sort of, if vermin or anything are running around. The wood at the top is pretty good shape. And I had a look. That's what I was looking at. I was having a good look at that, how sturdy it was and stuff. It's pretty sturdy. It's pretty safe. Like you wouldn't get any big rocks falling down on your head, but certainly rocks would fall absolutely in there. And they did. While I sat there, a couple did. Not thrown, dropped, just to be clear. When I was in there with Jason, when we were at the Washoe Club together, and Jason had the divining rods, is that what you call them? It was interesting, all interesting, but other people have gone in there and said that they get an uneasy feeling in there. Sometimes, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not too sensitive enough or something, but I find it relaxing. It's quiet. It's dark. and you can sit there quietly and you can lean up against the rock wall and that's what I did. And I was, and a few times I heard the little stones drop and stuff, but I'm reasonably positive that would have just been a little rat or something up the top that's knocked a stone, or just the fact that it is what it is, and that can happen. Yeah, our community is pretty good. I like this community. Besides, everybody can put up with me carrying on and talking about crap. It's not crap. It's important to me. It's me. This is a terrific way to get therapy. That's why I did ask everybody. I will go live on the 12th my time, which will be the 11th for you. Actually, what day is that? I should check, shouldn't I? Normally I know that. Yeah, it's Monday, so it'll be Sunday night for everybody in America, but the 12th for me is the anniversary of my son's death, so it's always a shitty day for me. And normally I spend it with my big boy, his big brother, but Alex is in Canberra. I am going up to Canberra on the 13th, though, and spend time with my other son for a few days. But, yeah, just keeps my mind off of stuff. I'll probably invite a few people in for if they want to get on, and we can just have a chat and talk about random silly things. And that'll be nice. It's all right, Wendy. Yeah, Joe says that he does get people messaging. Look, granted, I've done it to Joe, but it's usually if he's invited me in and I can't make it. I try to be respectful, because when you're live, you can't always look at your phone. It's hard enough to keep an eye on the chat. I'm back and forward. I'm in the YouTube one. I think the chat in YouTube moves quicker. I know I can't quite work it out, but anyway, it's all good. Oh, pussycat. Here's my pussycat, guys. She's just jumped up on the desk. She likes a cuddle, don't you? Don't you? Yeah. I was never really a cat person. Sorry, that's not true. I love all animals, but dogs were always more fun. But this little pussycat, she's cute. She loves a little cuddle. Look at her. She's just, I feel like, what's that movie with $1 million? I can't think of what it's called. Just suddenly felt like that. Are you all relaxed, are you, Missy? Oh, is it Frosty in Tassie? You're in Tasmania, that's where you are, isn't it, Cheryl? Yeah, she is fluffy. I'm getting hair up my nose, aren't I? Look at her. She's just asleep. She doesn't normally do this. She usually wiggles. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Here we go. Yes, I do have a house full of babies, don't I? Come on, down you go. She'll probably cry now. The cat goes down beside my chair and gets her little front paws and sits up on her back ones and goes like this, like a raccoon. Yeah, she's a rag doll. I've got a boy rag doll too, but well, he's fixed, I don't breed or anything. Yes, thank you, Tanya. I think she is. I do. She's a nice little pussycat. I should, not now, next time, maybe next week when I go live, then I'll bring in except the only problem with my lorikeet is that she's super cute. Boss Baby is her name, but she's super cute. Like, I'll put her on my finger. She's gorgeous. She's a lovely little bird, but she gets bossy, hence her name, because that was not her original name, but she gets bossy. So you try and do things and she's like, ee, ee, and it's very annoying. So as much as I love my birds, I wouldn't come on a live with them. They're unpredictable. Plus, I don't want to be pooped on. Yeah, ragdolls are nice cats, Wendy. They're very pretty and fluffy and clever. Well, most cats are clever. Most. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I might not have Yeah, Karen's menagerie. Karen from Australia. Uh, um, when I was in Virginia City, well, I did go to the Sutro Tunnel. I've had a really good look around that, about 4 hours just looking around that place. It's huge. So that's why I'm going to do a little episode about that with Taylor's assistance. Hey, Shape. We're talking about demons. Oh, well, we weren't, Shape, but since you've just dropped in, talking about all the BS earlier about people that see demons everywhere. What a load of crap. I'd love to see a demon. I really would. And I'd say, stop it. Just sit down, shut up, and tell me where you come from and what it's like there and stuff. That's what I would do. And if they swore at me, I'd tell them to mind their manners. I'd probably run, to be honest. But you don't know, it's just another being. Yeah, demons everywhere. Demons. Shape's had a few episodes out lately that have made me have a bit of a giggle. Actually, have you, I don't know if you're still there, Shape, but when was your last episode? When did you last, because I don't know. I'm trying to think what the last one was I watched, because I will watch the Shapes episodes, because when I watch Shapes episodes, I laugh, and that's important. It's important to laugh. I reckon demons look like Brad Pitt. Or, oh, literally, just now, Shape. Okay, cool. I'll go and check it out when I hop off of here with my lunch. I don't know what a demon would look like. I kind of imagine, if I was to imagine, I don't imagine they look like, the hooves and the horns and all that sort of crap. Again, that's just not what I reckon a demon might be more kind of like, if I imagine a demon, I imagine it little and skinny with long fingers, a face only a mother could love, a pointy nose, and spiky hair. Bit like a gremlin. Demons and poltergeists and orbs. Oh my. I find that theory on poltergeists that they have, where oftentimes poltergeists can coincide with a child in the home that is menstruating. It's really weird. I've heard that before, and they say that the poltergeist activity actually comes from the female child in the home. I don't know. Yeah, I would make friends with the demons, I think. I reckon. I mean, why not? I'm a counsellor by trade, so maybe I could just counsel them and ask them, did you not like your father? Is there daddy issues? What's the matter? How can we make your life better? And then I'd ask them, why they can't get along. I always get, there's a Joe, if you're listening, there's a boy, a succubus, and there's a girl, succubus, and I've not met one. I don't want to meet a girl one, but there's times when a boy one would do. Yes, I think the demons all have childhood issues. I've got a theory that the devil is so cranky because ultimately his father sort of said, piss off, you're not stuffing around with my little toys, the humans, F off then, I'm sending you. So no wonder the child, he was dad's favourite, then all of a sudden he wasn't. He's pissed off. He's allowed to be pissed off. A succubus. I don't know. All right. Well, I've never met an Erebus because I think I'd keep him busy if I did. Silly. That's all right, Maisie. Just concentrate on mine. I'll make you laugh. I've got bobbleheads coming this week. I haven't made a proper bobbleheads for a while. I kind of made bobbleheads for that my trip to Tulsa. But yeah, well, I suppose if you put it that way, I've met plenty of Arabus males as well, or Arabus. Oh, I don't know. So do the well, ha ha ha. I just got that. Yeah, I've been, because some of my like I made the little animation in the Sallie House, the second episode, because I just thought that was a fun story. But because the episodes I've been making is sort of more on a serious note. Well, I suppose not. I looked back at some of my earlier episodes and I thought, crikey, in a matter of 6-7 months, I've managed to teach myself much better editing skills and to put things together a bit more presentably, even myself. Oh, geez, Joe, get it right. So incubus. All right, well then I haven't met an incubus. I haven't met one yet. Ooh, I should have made myself a coffee. That's all right. I've got plenty of time. Joe, it's hang on. It's Sunday. I don't even know what day it is. No, it's Saturday night. It's tomorrow night. You go on Facebook with Bear, isn't it? While I think about it. Yep, no emails from Bear yet. I asked Bear to email me with some evidence that we may have caught at Octagon Hall, but he hasn't, which is a bummer, because if they had caught it on film, it would have been really good. Tanya is the gold standard. Tanya's in everybody's. I don't know how you do it, Tanya, but no, Tanya's worth her weight in gold. That's why she's my fairy princess. Hey, Dee. I won't be on too much longer because I don't want to bore everybody. But then I often just, this is what it's like in my home during the day. I sometimes have conversations with myself and I keep myself entertained. Let me think. There's some stories I would love to tell you all, but I can't because due to confidentiality, but I will after. All I'll say is somebody's going to come out with a Sutro Tunnel episode, and I know they are. And I know some stories behind that. So for me, until I can. So I can't. You're welcome, Tanya. While I was in Virginia City, I finally got to go and see that cowboy show thing, where you walk past and they have the shoot 'em ups in behind the doors. It was so cool. It was super funny. Super funny. You should go and see that if you're in Virginia City. Thank you, Dee. Thank you. I just think it's important to get the truth out there. And so I'll probably have another, definitely Aggie, and then probably another 2 Aggies, and then a final one, so that I can put it all into a nutshell. She's funny. let me think. What else? Jason's going to, I'm not sure when he's going to have his little episode, but he did a beautiful stone cleaning while we were at the, which cemetery was it? Something Hills. I've gone blank. Anyway, he did it. So I'm going to put some stuff together for him for his episode on that. And what did I see in Virginia City? Well, Maisie, it won't be too hard to catch up on when Jason's at the moment. He's only put a couple out at the minute because he's super busy. And Cassie's the same. You could probably catch up on everybody within the next day or so in time for the new episodes. Virginia City. Well, when I was in Virginia City this time, I went back to the Mackey Mansion, but not inside, but the chickens and stuff, because the Mackey Mansion's got chickens out the back behind the, what do you call it, pergola. What else did I do? I saw my wild horses and the mules. Coffee at the roasting house. I went to the Fourth Ward School for a Mother's Day tea. So they served tea and cake and food. Oh, it was pretty good. Everyone basically took some food there. There was, I'll put things up. I'm slowly starting to go through my holiday and just put little tidbits up like I did with the Tulsa thing. But they had a string quartet, and that was so pretty. Sutro Tunnel. What else did I do? Hung out with friends a lot. So one of my friends, Connie, hung out with her most nights. We'd go to the Cider Factory, which is a restaurant. If anyone goes to Virginia City, Cider Factory restaurants only open a couple of days a week, and I think they're going to start opening on a Friday soon. But the food is just amazing. They're such good cooks. Like, it's proper, real good food. I went to the Bonanza and had breakfast there and made friends with Sabrina, who works. Joe should know who Sabrina is. She was with you there when you did your investigation at the Bonanza. What else did I do? I made lots of friends, hung out with the locals. Did a lot more. I hung around with Taylor Hamby a fair bit, and so I've got a lot more resources now to do research on Virginia City. I've only been to America twice, so once last year in September, Wendy, and once this year. But I love it there. I could live there, not a problem. Not a problem. The only things that scare me about living in America are guns and the fact that your health care system there is fairly well sucks. It's not like here. Here, if you crook and you go to the doctor and you don't have money to pay, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to. The government pays. There is waiting lists here, though, kind of like, I think the same for you, probably, Maisie, in Scotland. There'd be waiting lists. So if you're rich in Australia and you can pay privately to go to hospital, you can skip to the front of the queue for an operation. So say you had, I don't know. You had something wrong with you and you want it fixed straight away, your tonsils or something, boom, you're in next week because you're private and you can pay. But if you don't have the money to pay for insurance here, you go on the waiting list. So you could be waiting for anything up to 2 years here for an operation, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in Great Britain. So, but in America, Jesus Christ, you go. One of my friends went, she's a vet, and she works in Reno, and she said she got a scratch on her arm or bite from a dog, so I had to go to the emergency room to get it cleaned and dressed. $7,500 later. Holy cow. So yeah, but at least we're covered. It's just a waiting list. Yeah, Maisie, same. But America, it's not right. It's their health system's not good. Uh, yeah, guns scare me. I don't like them. I didn't see anybody with a gun except for the sheriff. Yeah, yeah, Tanya. She went to the emergency department. They dressed it, and she had to have a rabies shot because she was bitten by a dog, and she left and got. I think she said it took 3 weeks, and she got a bill from them for $7,500, and that was because she didn't have insurance, something like that. But it's just it's just stupid. Yeah, that's what I've heard, Wendy. So I don't know why it's like that. I really don't. I mean, if our country can look after its humans, why can't America? Yeah, that's what I mean, Joe. It's like I don't understand it. I don't. I really don't. I don't understand it. Uh, so if you have actually, Joe, if you do have insurance, which a lot of my American friends do have insurance, I guess it's the same. Like we can have I can have insurance here, but for me to even get private health, this country. So years ago, from when I was 15, got my first job, I had health insurance, and I kept my health insurance all the way up until my third child. At which point I had to stop paying for it because things happened, life happened, and I actually um, couldn't work. So I didn't have money, and I had to just go back to being looked after by the government, so to speak, for health issues and go off of my private health cover. But what they introduced in Australia was that once you get to the age of, I think it's 35, I could be wrong about the 30 age group, but I think it's younger. Once you get to, it might be 30, once you get to that age, they start tacking on an extra charge for private health insurance. So if you don't get private health insurance, the government's mind in this was that rich people will therefore get the health insurance because they won't want to have to pay the extra charge. But basically, the older you get, the more you have to pay for your private health insurance, as the fact that you never kept it up from when you were young, which actually has done the reverse for me because now I can't afford private health insurance. If I want private health insurance for a hospital or whatever, per month, something like it would cost me something like $5,000 a year. I can't afford that for private health insurance. And that's not extras. That's just if I have to go to hospital and have an operation. So it sucks. Yeah, they can do that here too, Wendy, for private health insurance. That's why in Australia it's actually better to not have it. It really is, because you might the only bad thing is you go on a waiting list. But if it's an emergency, like truthfully, if it's a really like it's an emergency and you have to have emergency type surgery or whatever, you get in, you beat the rich people because it's an emergency. So they've got tiers 1, 2, 3, So if you're on the list, the number one list, you'll get in. But it's just, it's stupid. Nobody should have to worry about that sort of thing, especially when you're getting older. Like me, I'm getting old. But even young, fall over, break an ankle, like, you want to be able to get good help. I've just been told by a child that I'll be streaming in 30 minutes. Terrific. There we go. Joe was covered, Wendy. I don't know if he answered you. Yeah, there you go. A few $100s is better than $100,000. I suppose if I came to live in America, I'd just have to pay for private cover. And if anybody lives close to Virginia City, if you live in Reno or whatever, or Carson, I don't know who's on where and here, but tons of work at the moment. Oh, there's a job that would be right up my alley. Only a little job. Like I'd have to have tons of different jobs in Virginia City, but there's one job going at the Washoe Club at the moment. They need the the person that can walk people through and tell them the history of the place. Oh, I'd love that job. Geez, Cheryl, did you go for a facelift while you were at it? Stuff it. I don't know how old you are. You probably don't need it. Yeah, yeah. When it's things like that, Cheryl, we don't have to wait. We're on that level, like it's a level 1 tier, so you get in. Thank God. So we're lucky here in Australia. That's the one thing. Oh, apart from the fact that I've got kids and family here, but that is the one thing that actually puts me off moving to America. You're fine if you're healthy. Oh, well, I would have gone. I would have said, if I were you, Cheryl, I would have said, oh, and I need a facelift while you're at it. My dog's going crazy. I won't talk politics here, but all I can say is the only thing about guns that bothers me is now where were we? Oh golly, someone in chat remind me. Only a little while ago, a bank was held up, or not held up. A guy went into a bank and shot it up, and the young policeman that came up, the first fellow to attend with his partner, was shot and killed on the stairs of the bank in Kentucky. We drove, I'm positive it was Kentucky, because when I was in the car with Jason and Cassie and Ron, we actually drove past. It was kind of surreal. Drove past that. We drove into that intersection in the bank. There was flowers everywhere, all around the front of the bank. And I said, straight away, I looked and I went, oh, what's all that about? And then I looked at the building. I went, oh, that's where that young policeman was killed. So it's things like that is a bit disconcerting, because and then you've got the kids, the schools and things like that happens, and it happens all the time. Like, it just doesn't always get. So it's a bit spooky. Like, you think to yourself, if you piss somebody off in the traffic, are they going to pull a gun? Like, that's how, like, what I was thinking. But I didn't see any guns the whole time I was there. I didn't feel scared at all, really. Not really. But it's in the back of your mind, like, who could be carrying a gun? Who are you going to annoy that might, pull one on you? But anyway, but yeah, I don't know about the Republicans, because isn't it, who's running the country now? The Democrats, aren't they? Isn't Biden a Democrat, Joe? I don't know. But either way, I can tell you now, the general consensus when you're in America, you just, especially in the areas that I was in, you just say nothing. Just say nothing. Hopefully someone will get elected to power that will run the country appropriately, and people will start getting their jobs back, etc. Yeah, well, yeah. I'd be more worried about the Democrats than I would be the Republicans, and that's as much as I'm going to say. A bit of a mixture, I think. Bit of a mixture. But I don't want to get political. It's not my country, so I don't want to talk about it. That's it. I just know that the country is a beautiful country. The people are friendly. It's a beautiful country, and honestly, really friendly country. I'd almost go as far to say that Americans are more friendly than Australians. Like, not one place I visited, apart from Graceland, where there was a visitor from Russia that needed to be kicked up the arse. No negative experiences whatsoever with human beings while I was in America. Everyone was lovely. Everyone. So I don't know. I love America. I hope one day everything gets sorted and everything's okay. Because, yeah, it's a good country, a rich history, beautiful country to look at. Like, even the desert, you'd think the desert's ugly and like boring, but it's just beautiful. Lots of little animals and critters that are cute. So there you go. Yeah, Wendy. I know that some states do let you carry concealed weapons and others don't. So it's interesting. And as a visitor to the country, I wouldn't know. But yeah, no. The guns only worry me from the circumstance of the fact that they're so readily available for things like that bank shooting or the school shootings and things. Here in Australia, people can have guns if you live on a farm or if you're part of a pistol, like a gun club and stuff. But the average Joe isn't allowed to walk around with a handgun. Like, it just doesn't happen. And certainly certain guns are just absolutely not for sale in this country, shotguns and rifles, but that's about it. So that's the only thing. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's no easy answer to that because it's the one of the amendments. I think it's the first. No, what's the first amendment? No, it's fourth. I think it's the fourth. Which amendment is it, Joe? The fourth? Third? That's one of them. But anyway, but such is it. No, there's no need for guns anywhere really, unless you're a policeman or a farmer, that sort of thing. But having said that, because in America everybody can have one and you don't know who hasn't got one, I guess I can understand why some people would have them, but I don't think I would want one. My dad used to go shooting when he was younger, so he had a shotgun, and he used to keep it above on a cupboard, and I knew where he kept it. And I can remember as a child wanting to, oh, well, Daddy uses one. I wonder, oh, maybe it's just a toy. I can remember going to try and get it off the top of the cupboard. Thank God I didn't. I mean, I don't know if he would think he didn't keep it loaded, but you don't know. So you can see how things like that happen. So that's, for me personally, I just hate the bloody things. I hate them full stop. They were never made, they've got a purpose. They were made for a reason. So I don't like them. I'd much rather just maybe have a baseball bat. They can do enough damage. But anyway, that's enough of that. Oh, thank you, Maisie. Second. I knew it was one of the top 4. Yeah, and that's right. That's right. That's when it was written. And I understand why the need for the weapons back then. I do. I understand. I don't understand the need now. I think it's just something the country's grown, and some people love them. Some people collect them and just love them. So I don't know. It's good luck trying to get rid of them. I'm afraid it's probably just how it's going to be. But in Australia, I don't know if the Americans know, but in Australia, after Cheryl will know about this, after there was a tragedy in Tasmania for quite some time, the Australian government had been talking about removing people's rights to have guns just willy-nilly, like they wanted these new laws to be put in place. And Tasmania was the only state to say no. No, people can have guns here if they want to. There's a big conspiracy theory around this, but I'll just stick to the facts. So eventually, I think it was a year after Tasmania said no, stuff you, there was a massacre in Port Arthur where apparently a young man went crazy with a gun and shot and killed quite a large number of people. Port Arthur is a tourist attraction, so you would go there to look at the old buildings from back in the 1700s that were the initial, where prisoners would be sent from England. And there was cafes and whatnot there, and this young man went into a cafe and slaughtered a lot of people. So after that happened, Tasmania agreed to the government's new gun laws, and everyone was encouraged to hand back their guns, like take their guns into, I think, the police stations. I think that's where you got told to take them, and you would be paid. So you would take your gun in, and then they would give you, I think it was $300, or there was a cash amount that the government would pay you for giving up your gun. So a lot of people who didn't even use their guns anymore anyway, just sat on top of the cupboard, thought beauty, and took them in. got some cash, and in fact it worked. Everybody that didn't need a gun generally handed it back, and just people that were farmers or part of a pistol club, that sort of thing, got to keep theirs. It wasn't in New Zealand, Wendy. It was in Australia. Port Arthur is at the in Tasmania. I've been there. It's really interesting, and if ever you get to, supposedly hugely haunted. Again, I didn't see anything while I was there, but I was not really looking for ghosts. I was just looking at the historical. There's Port Arthur was a prison. There was a prison, so the convicts from England who stole bread or whatever it is that they did would get sent to Port Arthur. It was pretty hardcore sort of thing. Like, it wasn't a nice place to be sent. There was houses there and a little township as well. Yeah, they say it is haunted. Gee, Steph, that's good. That's good. There's still, I should maybe do a deep dive on that, but just in regard to that, hang on. Yeah. Oh, that's what Wendy's thinking of. Yeah, that was an Australian. I think he was ex-military. I'm pretty sure he was ex-military, against the Muslim people and whatnot. Went into a church, a place of worship, and horrifically killed a lot of people as well. Absolute nut job. But yeah, I watched a documentary once where they were speaking to the lady that was working that day at Port Arthur back in the day. It's very different now, but back in the day when you would come into Port Arthur, there was like a ticket box, like an area there where people would, see the comings and goings and whatnot. And the lady that worked in there, and the day it happened, had gone over to the cafe. She had gotten something to eat this is me going from memory. I think she'd gotten something to eat, or said hello to what, back to the ticket box or whatever it was called, gatehouse, and that's when the shooting happened. But yeah, she had a story to tell. There's a lot to that story that's very unusual, that's never been explained. It's one of those rabbit holes. But when you talk to her, she said the timelines were really weird. It took a long time for people to show up, from when she told the policeman, oh my God, blah, 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 and he took off. A policeman actually took off, like he came and then he took off again. And she said it was far too long. Like, it is quite isolated there. Cheryl will know it is, because I've been there. It takes a long time to get there. So it's, but anyway, that's a rabbit hole. If I had kids in school in America, I wouldn't have kids in school in America. They'd be homeschooled. Yeah, I trust nothing. I trust that's too easy for people, crazy people, to get into the schools. It's just too easy. Maisie says Australia and Scotland are used as examples where there has been horrific violence and new gun laws have been introduced. Some in the US fighting for sensible gun laws use us as an example. Yeah, they do. And Scotland, Maisie, I can remember that when my boys were little and I lived in a country town in Victoria. I remember the newspapers when that maniac went into the kindergarten. To this day, that makes me feel sick. And it was shortly after that, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Maisie, but it was shortly after that the gun laws changed. I mean, sometimes they just have to change. Sometimes the government needs some balls. Sometimes the governments need to say, you know what, fuck this, sick of this, you can all get fucked. You can all give them back. Only people can keep them are farmers, because obviously you might need to put some cattle out of their misery or whatever. I mean, there are sensible uses for guns, but then again, then again, can't you just call the vet to put them to sleep? I stuffed if I know, but I don't like guns. There's nothing good can come from them. Nothing good. But not my place. It's just, yeah. I'm just happy that in this country, you're not allowed to have one unless you're a farmer. You can get a license. Like if I want to go hunting or whatever, if you want to go hunting game, you can get a gun. You just got to have a special license and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I've heard that too, Dee. So you know, but either way, I still love America. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's yeah, Maisie. That was terrific. Yeah, I think America is just such a beautiful country. I love it. I'd live there in a heartbeat. I love the American people. I just love it. Maisie says, exactly. It was so easily instituted in those countries, and I am fully behind that. Someone was shot here this weekend because they turned around in the wrong driveway. What? Yeah, people do carry knives, but I'm trying to think. It might have been last year or the year before. When you get older, time goes fast. But there was an incident here in Brisbane, Queensland, just near me, on the freeway. A bit of road rage. The two fellas got out of the car to have a bit of a chat. It was caught on dash cam, so they showed the footage on the news. You didn't see it. You didn't. It was so quick. One guy got out of his car, walked up to the other dude, and stabbed him in the stomach with a screwdriver. So you don't even need a knife, a screwdriver, and then he jumped back in his car and took off. And you saw the guy like, what? He thought he'd just been punched a couple of times. That's what he said. He thought I'd been punched, but then he looked down and saw the blood. So it doesn't have to be a knife. Anybody, you can do anyone in any way you like. But so some dude in Scotland drove up someone's driveway or was turning around in the driveway. So, oh my God. So like what I do sometimes when you've gone too far, you go just a little bit in their drive and then back up and drive off. Jesus, Wendy, that's no good. Yeah. No, I do love America. And people say all the time too in England, like the English bobbies don't have guns. They don't. They've got tasers and stuff now, but no guns. Here, our policemen have guns, and they don't use them willy-nilly. A fellow did get shot here last year at the local McDonald's. He had a knife, and he had a big knife. He was at the local McDonald's during the day. I would assume from the reports, I can't remember exactly, but he was high as a kite, if you know what I mean. And he was screaming and ranting in the car park. The police turned up and told him to drop the knife, etc. He didn't, and he lunged at one of the policemen, and they tasered him, but he kept going even after he was tasered. And then he ran at a policeman with the knife, and that's when they shot him. He didn't die on the spot. He died in hospital, but shit happens, and it can be horrible. And it's just, how did we get onto this? What a morbid conversation. Yeah, I know, kids. It's really weird. The world's gone to shit, in a way. Some things are good, but mostly gone to shit. Wendy says, I think people are so conflicted and divided here in the last few years that it's just out of the ordinary. Yeah, everything can suck. Do you like my koala? Oh, hang on, I'm pointing. See my koala? It's the things I buy, honestly. Let's change the subject. I've I should actually, on the 12th, when I do the live thing, I'll bring up all these things I bought and show you. When I went to America, I had one carry-on, like, just your normal carry-on, and my handbag. When I left America, I had 2 big suitcases and 2 carry-ons and my handbag. Brought so much crap. But mind you, this doll took up just about one of the largest suitcases. This doll, and I had, what else? Oh, and these 2, and then I had this one. What else did I bring back? Oh, I brought back, Daniel Boone, and I brought the Child's Play thing. I got that at Waverly Hills, and I brought the duck at the Titanic exhibition, and that's what I was going to bring up, because I've got a piece of the Titanic. I've got a piece of wood from the Titanic. I've got tons of stuff. I've still got to set my shelves up a bit different and put everything on them. But I collected so much stuff. Oh, really? No, it's not Grover. I'll get him. I've introduced the Professor before. This is the Professor. And he's got a little satchel that is for jelly beans. But the Professor is a character from Watcher, which is Shane Vergara, and oh my God, Shane Madej, and I've just gone blank. Anyway, Watcher, BuzzFeed. They used to do, but it's Watcher now. They do a thing called Puppet History, and it's the Professor who tells you the history. And if you win, you get a trophy and a jelly bean. And I think he's awful cute, so I got him. And he's even got real little glasses with glass in them. He's so cute. But I got him. I'm a collector. Mind you, one day I'll die. Oh, and this is Buck Atom. So on Route 66, there's a Buck. There's quite a few of them, apparently, Jason tells me, but the one I went to was in Tulsa. So Buck Adams something or other Curios. And it used to be a service station back in the day, and he was sitting on the shelf, so I thought, why not? There he is. Oh, so I collect odd things, and I got this here. Let me see if you can you see? Oh, she looks very red. She's not that red. That's weird. But that's a little Eskimo, or you don't call them Eskimos anymore, but this is so soft. I got this. It's from 1950. Yeah, 1950. It's a vintage little doll, and I hate to say it, but I think it's wolf fur. It could be a rabbit. It's very soft. So the strange things I collect. But there you go. Inuit. Thank you, Andy. Inuit. Why? What's Tanya done? Oh, the Professor. Yeah, Shane Madej and Ryan Vergara. Oh, that's what I did when I went to Waverly Hills, because they've got if you want to laugh, they've got a ghost hunting. They go ghost hunting too. I think it's on Watcher. But it's funny that they go to all these places, and they investigate with a sense of humour, which I like. No, it's not Buck Rogers. It's Buck Adam. What was I saying? Oh God, what I was saying? Oh, Ryan Vergara and stuff. Yeah, they went to Waverly Hills and investigated, and they were near where the man was supposed to have been pushed down a shaft, and the dog and so on. Yes. Anyway, they painted on the wall. They did their autographs on the wall around the corner. So I geeked over that, fangirled over that, and videoed that. I might have videoed it. So that was pretty cool for me. Yeah, the Goatman's Bridge was a good one. They're hilarious. The one thing I do like about them, they do research. They do research. I must watch their Sallie House one again, because their first Sallie House one was disrespectful, but the second one was non-eventful. and they were a little bit more subdued. Actually, Jason's been to the Goatman's Bridge. He saw a critter, an armadillo Jason saw. Oh my God, my children are messaging me. They want me, you won't believe this. I need to go to the shops. This is what my daughter just said. She needs milk. I'm like, I got. Well, that's pretty cool. I went to, when I was in Virginia City, there's a few shops there where they sell, stones. Bloody hell. What do you call it? Gems and whatnot. I brought a few. They're in my bathroom now. I like those. I especially love amethyst and rose quartz. I think they're pretty. Is it amethyst? Amethyst. That if I hold it for too long, it gets really hot in my hand. I've got to put it down. I'm just checking I haven't missed anybody. Oh, I don't think I've missed anything. What do you reckon, people? It's 12 o'clock lunchtime here. Now, I've been talking to you non-stop, how unusual, for 2 hours. Crikey. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell you before I go. I've told you what I'll be popping out this week. Oh, okay, I'll have a look at that, Wendy. Yeah, because I've got my friend Scott Michaels who gets me all other sorts of stuff because he's got it. And I trust him because I know he's actually got it himself. Yeah. Crikey. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so I'll be putting out that stuff this week, the Octagon Hall and the episode about the Sallie House. I'll be putting together some more of the photos of the little sort of the things in between that Jason and I did in between everything. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I'll think of something to talk to you about next week. So next week, I'll double check. If you can hear that noise, it's my cat playing with one of its toys. Where are we? Sunday. Yeah. So next week, I'll do my live on the 12th my time, which is Sunday night, the 11th for you. Okay. Yes. And I'll have a whole heap of my things, and I'm pretty sure Cassie said she'd come along for that as well, and we'll just hang out and I'll show you all the stuff I got when I was in America, and I'll probably then be able to talk to you more about Octagon Hall. I had been I did make contact with Octagon Hall because I wanted to see if I could get young Isaac on to talk with me about the hall, but they haven't got back to me, so it doesn't matter. It's all right. I'll just go with everything he told me anyway, so it's all good. Oh, thanks, Maisie. Well, you should, if it's 2, it must be 3 or 4 in the morning there now. You need to go to bed. I'm going to go to the shops and let my daughter get some milk, and I might be a bit slack today. I might even get some takeaway. I don't know what I want. Usually I just go to one of the shops and buy a salad because nobody else in this house eats salad. So I usually just shout myself a nice seafood salad. Muhammad Ali's punching bag, you mean? Yeah, see, I don't know. It'd have to be fair income. I'll check that. I'll check it out, though. I'll check it out. I love stuff like that. I collect all sorts. I think you all know. I'm about to go, don't worry, but I think you all know I've got a piece of the brick fireplace from Sharon Tate's house on Cielo Drive where they passed away in front of that. I've got police tape from the Nicole Simpson murder. I've got a piece of tree from where Paul Walker died, the tree that he hit. What else have I got? Piece of Lucille Ball's brick wall that they dismantled when they were renovating the house. So Lucy's house in Hollywood, I've got a piece of that. I've got tons of stuff. Piece of the Titanic, piece of the Hindenburg. I think that's all. I think that's all I've got at the moment. I don't know. Something wrong with me. Anyway, I'm going to go. And thank you so much for having a chat with me today. It was nice. Yeah, it was all good. If there's, as I say, I'll pop it in. I'll probably schedule it now for next week, but I'll do a live. And if you all want to come and hang out, that'd be good. And if there's any of you regulars, and I'm pretty sure there is, that want to on the day, I can send you a little link and you can pop in and talk to me back and front proper so I can see your face. Thanks, Maisie. You're more than welcome to. Maisie, if you want to, that'd be awesome because, you're Scottish and I can listen to your Scottish accent, except I just don't know what I just did then. Scottish, oot in the boot. Oh, dear. Oh, yeah, I know, KFC, but I don't know what their calorie take is there. I try to avoid KFC because I always get pulled in. I always want a piece of chicken because I love the coating, but then it's full of oil. It's just usually disgusting. But maybe today I'll just shout myself some KFC. Thanks for that, Dee. Now I'm gonna no. Oh, Tanya. All right. I love you all. I really do. Sometimes some days I just look forward to this so much. And Tanya and Cheryl and whatnot, I'll try and do a couple of lives of an evening, like our time, so that you guys can pop in and say hello. Even if there's only 2 or 3 of us in, I don't care. I'll invite you all in and we can talk, whatever. Whatever. All right, I'm going. Love to you all, and I'll be popping up my episodes this week for the Octagon Hall and the Sallie House, and then we'll do the rest, and we'll see how we go. Love you too, my fairy princess. Love you, Maisie. Be good, and see you, everybody. Love you lots. Thank you so much for popping in and talking. It's been good. I'll see you later, and have a good weekend.